Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing Ride 4. And in today's video we're going to be completing the final stage of the Valencia Master Group, and it's going to be a whopping 40-minute endurance race on board the Honda CBR 1000RR Fireblade, 2008 model to be exact, similar to the one I had in the braking tutorial, I believe it was. However, that wasn't the race modified one, that was just the normal standard bike. Well, I didn't bother qualifying because 12th place, 1st place, 3rd place, doesn't matter to me. I'm probably going to win this race anyway. The AI is just not difficult enough. But my whole impression changed on the idea of doing an endurance race, especially for this long, because there really isn't any rush. You know, there's no rush for me to try and get past anyone. There's no rush for me to dive out to the head and get into the front. It was just simply a case of just take your time, let the race come to you. Time my overtakes, time, and manage the tyres. So in this 40-minute race, it's quite a slog. I led for the majority of it as well, but I'm not going to spoil anything for the rest of the video, of course, but it does get rather hectic. And I don't think you'd realise how it would get chaotic and how it would. I don't think anyone's expecting this, by the way, so you'll see towards the end of the video, if you manage to stay that long. If you feel the need to skip forward and see it, then go ahead, but I would prefer if you watch the whole build-up. So the other mornings, like after midnight, early hours of the morning, I work nights, you see, I was playing this, and I was having an absolute blast. It was really good. I didn't even realise the 40 minutes that went by, to be honest with you. The only times I really looked at the clock, or at least looked at the time remaining, was around 25 minutes, and then I think again was about 10 minutes. And then after that I was relatively tired and I was waiting for it to finish. But Valencia, of course, I mentioned last time in the Valencia DLC, this being the final round of the Master Group from the Valencia DLC. Brilliant. I've really enjoyed Valencia. Funnily enough now, because of this endurance race and the videos I did on the Master Group in Valencia, this is now my most ridden track. I mean, for good measure, really. I guess it makes sense after doing this for 40 odd minutes. But to be honest with you, as far as the actual time goes, I can see how it can be quite intimidating, because there is absolutely no way in hell I'd have enough chance to do this on an average day. So if I was working that day, for example, there's no way I could do a 40-minute Grand Prix. I would have to wait till the weekend, my days off. My days off being Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So for me, this wouldn't be an option to do during the week. And of course, if any of you guys out there have got children or families and loved ones, the idea of doing a 40-minute race is a little bit intimidating because you might not get enough time. But thankfully for me, I didn't really worry about that too much. I had plenty of time. I was just absolutely bloody loving it, really. So, I mean, my sessions when I play Ride 4 are pretty much like 50 minutes long anyway, maybe longer. If I'm not recording, that is, because otherwise I'll have to stop to edit, etc. But I mean, already after this brief conversation, it's been about 4 minutes already, so I'm waffling, I guess, and just rabbiting on. But still, I'm going to try and eye up Paul Welshler. What a move! I think that may be my favourite overtake. Ooh. Then again, Casanova and Savelli in Mugello, either Ride 4 or MotoGP 20. You know, there's not many overtaking moves that I could say are my favourite, because I love them all so much. But Nico Tirol corner, Valencia. Jorge Lorenzo corner, turn 13 in Jerez. Casanova Savelli, MotoGP, Mugello. Oh, there's so many great. I think I'd have to just look at all the tracks and then try and decide on my own which ones I would go for. I mean, who could forget Assen? The final corner in Assen, of course. There's some bloody great tracks. Actually, let me know down below in the comment section below what your favourite track is. I've always liked the European ones, it's no secret. I've mentioned this before. European, British tracks, it's brilliant. And as far as I wanted to mention it, I actually wanted to mention something too. Now, I was looking on the Facebook group for Milestone and Ride 4 the other day, And people were complaining that why hasn't Ride 4 gone down the avenue of being an open world game, like Forza Horizon, for example, Need for Speed. And let me be the first, which I'm very much doubt I am the first to say this, but for God's sake, no. Please, no. I really don't enjoy those sort of open world games because simulation, concepts on the bikes, concepts on... I mean, I don't really know much about cars, but they always go to shite. They always go crap. It's just full arcade where you literally... Because there's no way you could do an open world bike game with the settings you have. Every collision, every bump, every other surface would knock you off the track. It would be awful. And I don't want them to take anything away from the brilliance that is Ride 4. I mean, as far as the Ride games go, Ride 1 was amazing, Ride 2 was fantastic. Ride 3, in my opinion, wasn't very good, but Ride 4 has been absolutely brilliant. Probably Ride 4 is my favourite, but I really wouldn't want them to go down that avenue. And if you're one of those people imploring Milestone to do this, let me know why, because... And you're happy with what we've already got? But I do appreciate that the idea, obviously, riding around with your friends, etc., could be pretty cool. But most of my friends are all car fans anyway, so... And I very rarely get a chance to play with friends anymore, since I obviously aim to get a video uploaded every single day. I can get a couple of hours gameplay in at the weekend, but majority of the time it's waking up before work and recording whatever I've recorded the night before, etc. Well, voicing over, etc. So as far as the motorbike games go, and as far as I go, a lot of my channel actually when I first started, I think it was about 2015, 2016, I didn't really take YouTube seriously back then, I was more just uploading whenever I could be bothered. And the MotoGP videos I did was actually pretty fun. That's where I started doing all my commentary. Because, I don't know if you know this, but obviously I practiced voice acting when I was younger. It was always a dream of mine to actually commentate or do radio or something like this. So YouTube for me was just a chance to showcase my skills. So yeah, that's how it all started. But since then, I've become more of a variety gaming content creator. And at the minute, obviously, I'm doing a lot of Ride 4 because you guys enjoy it, and I bloody love Ride 4. It's an amazing game. Anything bike related, I'm happy to play. Of course, I still do my video game reviews as well, but I have let the other gaming stuff slide for now because of Ride 4's popularity. It seems silly not to give you guys the content you want and just give you something else random. But as always though, let me know in the comment section down below what you want to see next. I have many videos I'm still working on, so if you haven't seen something you've requested yet, it is probably in the works. And it's just a matter of time when I get the chance and time to upload and edit it. Or edit and upload, should I say. So we got Christian Barrio ahead of us. I'm going to say Barrio, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. No, I'll say Barrios. Sounds cooler, but we're going to have a lunge, not quite. So he's on the Ducati. And an absolutely gorgeous Ducati as well. I was thinking about purchasing these yesterday. I have around 350,000 credits now after completing all of the regional cups, I think. Continent. But I was thinking about potentially purchasing that Ducati for another endurance race. I was looking yesterday actually at the infinity levels of all my bikes, and I was looking at some of the challenges in the game for different titles. There is 24-hour endurance races. There's challenges to complete 24 hours of endurance races. That seems so intimidating to do 24 hours. And I would love to do a 24-hour race, I really would, but I just don't think I could. I don't have the time, and, well, for one, I'd have to make sure I record and edit a couple of videos before that would be uploading whilst I'm still doing this bloody race. So we finally take the lead ahead of Christian Barrios, and I think we've developed that lead for quite a bit now. He's still lurking, he's trying to get through, but not yet for Christian. So at this point into turn 2, a little bit wide, Christian's going to fight back, but we get the cut back. See, I like to do that sometimes, I like to run it a little bit wide, Let the AI come on through. Let them feel happy making sandcastles in the sand, and then we dive through and slam the door shut on their face. Stomp on his metaphorical sandcastle. So, tyre wear after 7 laps, beneath 50%. Fuel above 60%. It's not too bad. I would say I'm being relatively smooth. I've worked quite a lot on being smooth, especially for these sort of races. I never feel like I'm overly aggressive when I ride. I would say I have a little bit of an aggressive style, but and that's mostly because I trail brake into corners, where if I was a little bit smoother I could brake earlier and then just gradually glide in. But I find it much easier just to gently be tapping the brake through the corners. So 3/10 of a second gap to old Christian behind, the Spaniard. He's not going to catch us up here. 29 minutes remaining for the number 47. If you didn't know this as well, I think the number 47 simply because 46, of course, Valentino Rossi, my hero, Valentino Rossi. 46 being the number I want. But when you play MotoGP, 46 are taken, and if Valentino ever retired, the 46 would then should be never to be allowed to use again. It should be retired instantly the second he says I'm going to retire. Instantly. It should be retired now. There's no way the number 46 should ever be used by anyone else. They could literally retire that number before Rossi does, and Rossi could still use it. Oh, as contact is made between Christian. See, he gets a bit aggressive in this one, doesn't he? So, I always then looked at creating social media profiles for myself and using DrAce46. In fact, my YouTube custom thumbnail, custom URL, is actually DrAce46. But it appears someone out there uses DrAce46 for a lot of things. So unfortunately, DrAce46 is not allowed. Well, at least it isn't for me. So what I then incorporated was an additional 1, because 46-1 is 47. 47 being my race number in MotoGP games, and 47 also being Agent 47 from Hitman. Nice little correlation there for you. But I also like the idea of it being 46 plus 1, because 46 and 1 is a championship. So when Rossi used to have on his leathers, I think it was back in 2010, he used to have the number 1 not far from his 46, just on the back of his leathers in the top right hand corner. So I took inspiration for that, and there it is, 46-1, 47. A little bit of an interesting fact there about DrAce. I didn't plan to actually start talking about rubbish whilst racing this. I don't know. With it being so long, I wasn't sure what to talk about, because I could just commentate the entire race, but that's if you wanted. But there's not much to see, really, since I'm 3/10 ahead of Christian, who is closing. And I must say, I was taking it rather easy, because I think I could have just blitzed him quite a few times, but I also tend to find whenever I play these games, I always like to try and keep it interesting, so I'll make sure I don't give it full throttle in some of the straights, or I might not brake as late as sometimes, just to make it interesting, just to toy with them, because I feel that if you learn how to toy with the AI, when the AI tries to toy with you, you can react, you can fight back, because I have to lift the bike up there in turn 11. As we make a move up inside of Christian Barrios, getting a bit caught, getting tight. The Ducati's up on the inside, we were sliding the rear there. I think that's when I first started to notice the tyre degradation on this Honda. As we hook it up nicely behind Barrios. Oh, careful. Almost bumped into him. Thiago Aguilar is not far behind. There's a guy there in 8th place called Mark Vasquez. When I first seen that, I thought it said Mark Marquez. It was just like a trick of the brain moment. Well, by the way, I didn't realise there's actually a Mark Marquez helmet in the game, and I didn't realise to mention in the video. I think it was in the review. Well, there it is. If you were looking for that, there's a helmet for Mark Marquez in the game. I mean, he's got plenty of boots in this game, so it was only fair. So yesterday I actually discovered the customization, and I decided to customise some of my leathers, give them a few Monster Energy logos, a few Pirelli logos, Dunlop, Bridgestone. I think obviously you can download custom You can download custom stickers, etc. So I utilised some of those to put on one of my leathers. Should have done it for this race, to be honest. But I never thought at the time. So, 1.5 seconds advantage now to Christian behind. 0.2 quicker this lap. Gonna be very careful into turn 12. It's a bit of a treacherous corner when you're running low on tyres. Is that the right way to say it? Running low on tyres? I would say probably running low on tyre life, maybe. And I just mentioned earlier about I wanted to commentators. I can't even get it right. So as you can see, the sun is gradually fading away. It's getting darker. The lights will come on soon. 41 kilometers on this bike already. That's pretty long. I really like that feature. It's something that I always forget to mention or forget to look at when I'm playing the game. But when I do see it, I'm sort of like warmly reminded. A little fuzzy feeling, if you will. I've done 42 kilometers at this point on this track, on this bike. And the gap is increasing, it's now 2 seconds. So with the tyre wear being less than 25%, we might have to start being careful here, but I still wanted to push to see how far we could get this, because sooner or later we're all going to have to pit. And if we're going to pit, I want to be leading as long and as far as possible. But as you can see, I'm a lot smoother now and a lot more gentle because I'm feeling the tyre wear at this point. I think if you're playing on 3 or 5 laps, for example, let's say you're on a 5-lap race, the tyre wear is probably not going to be as noticeable because you don't have that same amount of feeling. Because I think the degradation is so quick that you eventually don't just lose it gradually. I think when you lose it gradually, you then really begin to feel, oh yeah, this is like my 7th lap now, and I'm feeling that I'm not being able to make this corner. Turn 2 was a difficult one for me when the tyres started to go. But I'll tell you what, one thing I did really well in this, which I was very happy about, is that I kept the rear pretty warm but not hot. As you can see, the front gets quite hot. But the rear pretty much stayed the way it was all the way through. I think that was great tyre management. And considering how fast some of these corners are and how much throttle you really have to give it, I think I did a good job there. Especially on this Honda. I tell you what, this Honda is a dream to ride though. Out of all the bikes I tried and all the bikes I've purchased within the in-game credits, the Honda is definitely up there as one of my favourites. It's super difficult to say what my ultimate favourite is. It's like picking a favourite child or one of my favourite cats. It's not happening. I mean, probably not the cat that banged on my door in the last video. But yeah. You never know. In fact, that cat makes an appearance later on, actually. As we crash! Oh, disaster! Bigging up the tyre life! So at this point I realised, Jesus, I need to pit. Either I need to pit now, or very, very soon. Look how tentative I am going into turn 14. So questions are being asked here, as Aguilar is behind. The Spaniard way ahead, Christian Barrios. I then considered, do I need to restart this or not, because I may have just like made a massive boob. But at the same time, because we're not that far behind, it's just a second, and we're all going to be pitting soon, this is a great opportunity to claw back some time. And I never question my ability when it's racing, so only 27 thousandths down on the best lap time I've done so far in the first sector. So now it's time to focus, and again, whoa, we're gonna... At this point I knew it's pit. We have to pit. Less than 20%, it's not going to happen now. Because at that point I was pushing hard, but not out of control, and the bike still wanted to go. So losing 0.7 of a second in that sector alone just because of that moment. It was time to consider options here. Do we pit? I think the answer is yes. But it also depends on what Christian does ahead, because I think pitting at the same time as him could be great or it could be foolish, I'm not sure. Pitting is something new to me on Ride 4, of course, because it's new to everyone. And I'm never a fan of pitting. I always found when I was doing my bike lessons many years ago, I never wanted to stop. Teachers always used to tell me, you don't want to stop. You never want to hit the brakes, you always want to keep going. And that's true. And I feel the same way here. As Christian dives into the pits, I didn't realise he was going to pit. I thought he was going to do another lap, so I guess now it's big brain time. What do we do? Do we push and try and get a bit of an advantage and then pit? That's what my thought process was, so that's what we're going to do. We need to absolutely rag it on this lap. Somewhat conservatively with the tyres being in the condition they are. But if we can get a decent lap, then we should be okay. But after making this mistake here, yeah, it's pit time. We have to pit. The bike is just all over the place. It's like running on water now. There's an ice, whatever that metaphor was. Well, less than 20% now for the tyre wears. I also really wanted to see how much these tyres would drop off. And I had this sort of masochist view and thinking, I'm just going to rag it till the death. Because I really want to see what the tyres are like when they're less than 10%. But you can see the corners I'm making, it's getting really difficult now. Because bearing in mind, this was like 2 AM, 3 AM in the morning. I was getting ready to go to bed sooner or later. I was very tired, my eyes were heavy from recording and editing and Ride 4. But I was still determined to keep going and keep pushing. And I must say, because of the tiredness and how sort of into it I was, I went for another lap, just because. But the feeling of being really tired, eyes are getting heavier, the laps are lingering on, there's 20 minutes still left of the session, everyone's in the pits. Why not? I'm feeling the effects of an endurance race as if it would be for a real rider. I had a blast, honestly. I really, really enjoyed this. I'd seen yesterday, when I was playing Ride 4 career mode, that there's another 40-minute endurance race with similar bikes. So I won't use the Honda again this time, I don't think. So if you do enjoy these endurance races with the duration and with me just talking utter nonsense, comment down below, because I'd love to do this again. I'm having a great time just chatting and then just chilling and enjoying it. It's going to take a long ass time to upload though, I can tell you that. YouTube's going to process this in 4K in about 3 hours. Well, I don't know, 3 hours takes some like 10-minute videos. Probably 30 hours, my luck. Fun fact, I still have a video on my channel. I think it's the Fallout New Vegas video I did. It still says processing in HD. It was like 2 weeks ago. So the tyre wear is now less than 15%. It's getting tougher and tougher, my lap times are getting slower. But we have a massive advantage of 23 seconds. Ah, yes. I just remembered, the cat jumps on my lap at this point, and before then it hits my keyboard. So she pressed on my keyboard and hit the button. So then I had to pause the game, rearrange the cat, and just jump in the pits. I thought, well, jump in the pits and rearrange the cat. Bloody pain in the arse. I love that cat, don't get me wrong, but yeah, that's a thing. So the tyre wear went down to about 10%. Very concerning. The fuel, I decided to top up roughly half. I went for medium tyres as well, by the way, front and rear. So I'm going to do about 60, maybe 70% on the fuel. 75% fuel, apparently. Just noticed that the tyre wear still said 12% there, but as you can see, a whopping green flashing 100% and 75% of fuel. Now it took us 90% of fuel to get to 25 minutes and 16 laps. It's not going to be that much left, so we might as well take it easy. But in the Dimension, I started on the softs, so these are now the medium tyres, and instantly they felt weird. I was so used to riding on rails with those softs and riding really, really conservatively because of the tyre wear. It felt really weird to be on these mediums. I didn't feel anywhere near as comfortable. But with a nice healthy lead of almost 2.5 seconds, should be pretty smooth sailing from now. But Christian is in third, and he is also on the medium tyres. Not sure whether Christian can catch us because we are still on our outlap technically. But as you can see in the graphic, the green number 1 being me, of course. Behind me is 2 and 3 is right on his tail. 3 being Christian Barrios. So we can very well predict Christian's going to get past Giovanni Peretti. As it's now time to crack on. I think our goal now was just, I think we've won it. So let's try and set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. I like trying to push for the fastest lap. Of course, there's no additional points or reward for getting the fastest lap. It's just a feel-good factor, you know? So after a good gulp of Monster Energy, we're 3 seconds ahead. A nice healthy amount of fuel. Tyre life is looking good. I mean, we smashed 10% of the tyres already, so I have to be a little bit careful here. As the tyre's not looking as healthy already. Maybe I should have gone for the hard options to try and last out the race, but one thing I want you to mention... But one thing I want you to pay close attention to now is the lights. The lights on the track are going to illuminate soon, and it's going to get extremely dark. It's now 5:30 as we head into turn 8. You have to pay attention to the lights. This gets interesting, let me tell you. It gets very, very interesting. And it gets very difficult. Very, very difficult as I go wide there in turn 11. As you can see, still a bit uneasy on the brakes yet and uneasy on the bike. I didn't feel confident on the mediums, to be honest with you. I don't think I'd use the medium tyres again. I'd probably go soft or medium, soft or hard. The medium just didn't work for me. It felt a bit awkward and a bit off. Another lap completed, less than 13 minutes remain. DrAce has a nice healthy lead of 3.5 seconds over Christian Barrios. There's that man again, Christian Barrios. Second place, medium tyres, 70% of fuel. He's in a better situation than we are, technically, if you look at it that way. And he pitted a lap before. So, something to bear in mind. But now it's coming up to a 4-second advantage. I realised I had a 10th of penalty time, and I hate getting penalty time, I really do. Seeing that blip, that sort of smudge, that mark on your record towards the end where it's like, yeah, you did a good race and all, but don't forget you still had 10th of a penalty time. It's upsetting to see that, but there's nothing you could do. I'm not restarting for the sake of a 10th of penalty time when this has already been 29 minutes long. It's not happening. It's definitely not happening. A second slower than our best lap time, which was a 31.57. I don't think I beat that lap time. I think that's pretty much etched in history at this point. I don't remember surpassing it. But 3.5 seconds, still manageable. It's a nice healthy lead. I think it would take for a boring race though for it to be the fans. But then again, I don't think endurance races are all about the actual overtaking and manoeuvres. It's usually more about the battle of attrition to see who can last the longest. I remember one I watched a few years back. I think was it Nicola Canepa and Randy DePunier together? I don't remember. It was quite a while ago. And I remember everything was looking great. They were doing really well, and then Randy DePunier crashed out. Do you remember Randy DePunier as well, though? He was a good rider. I always remember him on the LCR Honda, the Playboy-inspired one, because of his wife, Lauren Vickers, I think? Lauren Vickers, I don't remember. There's that sort of waffling I'm talking about again. So, with 30... So I have 300,000 credits, 350,000 credits, something like that. Let me know in the comment section down below what bike I should purchase with 300,000 credits. It could be even 2 bikes. It could be 3 bikes, depending on the price. Well, let me know which bike you want to see, because I don't mind. I'm keen to try them all. Preferably a sports bike, but that's fine by me. You guys pick. Gap is less than 3 seconds now. It's now coming up to 2.5 seconds. I'm playing this a little bit too casual, I would say. As we approach 30 minutes race distance. Lap 20 is upon us. We're going to have to start being a little bit more serious about this now. But as you can see, 1800 hours, 6 PM. No lights yet. It's getting dark and there's no lights on the track yet. Okay, fair enough. I guess maybe they'll come on soon, or maybe they have come on but they're only on dimmers. Maybe invest in better light bulbs next time, Ricardo Tormo, Dorna Sports. I don't think it'd be Dorna who would arrange this sort of endurance race, would it? Might be, who knows. Well, the gap is still 3 seconds. Christian not making an impression just yet, as the sunny skies are turning to dark clouds. At this point I was thinking, please don't rain. Just please don't rain. And if it does rain, do I try and hang in there? One thing I really want to try is slick tyres on rain. I've not tried that yet. I really want to see how bad it is. Because surely when the rain comes you have the decision to when to pit. And usually for me, I like to gamble. When I played F1, which is quite a while ago now, I would always gamble. If it looks like you can get away with tyres that it's going to be tough, only if it dries a little bit more, I'm doing it. Because it's worth the risk. Because I always loved that about MotoGP, especially like some Marquez and Rossi the other year in Brno. I think it was it last year? Yeah, it was last year. It might have been Brno actually, I don't remember. I think it was. He gambled with the tyres in Q1. It looked a bit iffy, but he gambled and was like 6 seconds quicker. But Marquez is obviously the king of the mixed conditions, so I like to sort of just risk it. Because I'd rather go out in a bang and crash than to not try it at all. So 4 seconds gap now. We managed to buckle down and crack on. Cat's still on my knee at this point. And I don't recall when, but this is really silly, but she was sat on my knee and attacking her own tail when it got serious. So I think it was about now she was on my lap just going hell-bent on killing her own tail. Just sitting there whacking, not in an aggressive way of course by the way, but just sitting there on my knee just like whacking her tail as the tail flicked my controller, and then she'd turn and bump into the controller, then bop her head on it and then whack it with her foot. There's quite a few times where I just go wide for no reason, or I make a little bit of a mistake. That'll be why. But as you can see, it's getting really dark now and the lights are still a bit pants. I would have expected a lot more lighting for now, but I guess it is what it is. It's worth to mention though, because it's going to get darker and darker as we approach 6:30. I must say though, for car gamers out there who've been playing with dynamic weather for God knows how long, and for us in 2020 to be playing Ride 4, especially for me, and thriving about the fact that we have dynamic weather, it's so cool. We just need to have rain available when it's dry, and vice versa. Because like MotoGP, I use it when I do wet races. Wet as in the wet track, not so much raining track. I love trying to last out to the end and see how well the tyres will cope. Well, it never really does, it just feels like you're still on wet. So I would love to go into the pits and swap to the slicks and try and get through. And, you know, take that gamble that we mentioned earlier. Well, unfortunately, not yet. "85 kilometers we've done in this Honda so far. That doesn't seem real. I mean, even now, me just sitting there talking absolute nonsense, I think I've given some good conversation and good points. I hope you sat there in your room right now, nodding at the camera. Because you agree, I've talked good stuff today. This has been brilliant. I've not even noticed that 35 minutes have gone. I really hope you're still watching to the end, honestly, because that'd be bloody brilliant. And yes, you know what? The picture doesn't actually show it. Your latest weather report from DrAce. It's now 7:15, and there's still no lights on the track. There is no light on the bike either. So at this point, I'm looking around now thinking, has it glitched, or is this the lighting source in Valencia? Because at this point, I play on a dark monitor. I have all my settings sort of down, for the immersion, and it was pitch black. I will get a picture in a moment and I'll show it up. It was pitch black when I was playing this. It really doesn't give it on this video. Really doesn't depict it the way I seen it. It was pitch black, let me tell you. I couldn't see anything. It was getting to the point where, and bearing in mind the cat's still on my knee at this point, absolutely whacking the shit out of her tail. I'm going off wide. I'm missing all the corners now. I'm panicking because I can't see anything. It's just dark. There's no lights on the track. There's no lights on the bike. I can't even see Christian's light behind. The gap is now 1.2 seconds. What the hell am I supposed to do? And I've already done 35 minutes. What do I do now? So at this point I'm really panicking now. I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing here? Why haven't the lights come on? I really can't see a thing now. I don't know how dark your device is, what you're using, but if you put the brightness down, not all the way so you can still see the bike, but you can't really see everything else around the track. That is what I was coping with. So this is a major glitch. Because as you can see, the lights are on, but they're not projecting an actual light. There's no shadow, there's no sort of light source. And I haven't changed anything at this point. This is just simply still the gameplay. It was just simply a glitch because I went straight onto a normal mode afterwards, endurance mode again, put the lights down to pitch black, and yeah, it worked fine. So just for this moment, it did not trigger the lights. And I can't stress enough how dark this was. If this was a real life and I couldn't see, I would have been black flagged because the lights weren't working. But I mean, I checked once or twice to see if the lights on the bike were even working, and they were. It's just that there was no actual light projection. Absolute madness. I mean, for me now, in recording on this monitor again, it's very dark. And of course it should be because it's pitch black. Honestly, at 7 o'clock, it must get dark pretty early. Maybe the clocks went back in the game as well. But really dark. Well, technically the clocks would have gone forward if it went dark, maybe. No, backwards, yeah, I was right, backwards. But 2.5 minutes remaining. Hands are shaking at this point. Cat's kicking her tail. Lights are dark. I mean, it's actually gone really dark now. I can't even see the tyre. The tyre is perfectly... I just noticed as well, actually, that... Oh, no. I noticed a moment ago that the flame didn't even appear up on the bike. But as you can see, the lights are on. The lights are on, but just nobody's home. And I'm still going. And number 12, well, the guy in 12th place ahead of me is a back marker. And I really hope we don't bump into him. I need to try and win this race. It's gone so dark on my screen now. I hope this depicts it the same way I'm looking at this screen right now. Because that is so dark. I can't see a thing. Honestly, it was great. It was a wicked experience to play with pure darkness like this. I was riding in the recorded Tormo circuit as if it was from memory. Absolutely bizarre. My lap times are a shadow of their former selves as I go way wide into the Doohan corner. Panic is truly set in now. 1.5 seconds slower than best laps. The gap is less than 0.3 of a second. It's over. What are we going to do? I was so frustrated at this point and so worried and nervous at the fact that I'm going to do a 40-minute Grand Prix for the 39th minute to lose it all. I'd be devastated. But we just kept pushing, we just kept going up into turn 8, playing it pretty safe but playing it too close to the curb because I can't see anything. 1 minute remaining, so this would be one more lap of defence of a united front against the Spaniard Christian Barrios. But it's 7:30 now in this game and I can't see a thing. It is so dark. The only thing that's illuminated is the bike. I can roughly see my logo on it, but that's it. Everything else is just dark. And I'm not playing on like severe darkness, by the way. This is the preset game mode. I think it is for the... Or is it game mode? I don't remember. It's meant to be dynamic lighting or something in the monitor settings. And it's pitch black. It's dark. And it doesn't look this way when you play it, by the way. When you play on an actual normal game where the lights are working, it doesn't look like this. It's actually very, very easy to play. Not like this though. And I was damned if I was going to lose it on this. 0.3 of a second, or less than 0.3 of a second now. The final lap is here. Can we defend? I can't see a thing. Count how many times I've said I can't see a thing, honestly. 0.2 of a second gap, 1.5 of a second. Christian is there. He is eyeing me up, sitting there like a praying mantis, waiting for the opportunity to strike. The Spaniard is about to break my heart. Right here in his home country, in his back garden, in the Ricardo Tormo circuit of Valencia. We can't allow it. We cannot allow it. Just hang in there a bit longer. Keep pushing. Push with everything. 3 seconds slower I am now. Unbelievable. Bearing in mind we crashed in this corner last time, so I was playing it very, very careful. 0.2 of a second. The tyre is bucking and weaving. 1.5 of a second. Please, just defend. Just defend. Come on. Final corner. Just in time for bed. 8 o'clock. We've done it. Bloody hell. What a race. So guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this very long video. It's been an absolute pleasure to make as always. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed. And I will see you next time. Ciao for now.